So hey guys, it's Ray Divine Scarlet with another video. So a client of Melissa's asked us to have a little bit of a discussion on timelines, multiple timelines and timeline jumping. And what does timeline jumping actually mean? People who've watched Back to the Future may think that it's just changing to another reality where you've changed your past and so on. But what we're actually talking about is jumping from one version of yourself to another, because each version of yourself is really representative of a different timeline. Because once you make any little change within yourself and become a new person, you not only alter your potential future, but you also alter the past. And a lot of people don't realize that. Even though you may still have a lot of the thoughts and memories of the previous timeline between your ears, those thoughts and memories may actually belong to a different version of yourself now. That's why it's important not to allow the past to really define you, because the past that you're allowing to define you may not actually belong to you anymore. And Melissa, this is the whole point of, manifesting, really, if you think about it. It's to get people to make profound changes in their reality is actually just jumping them from one timeline to another.
Yeah, it's jumping into the future to see what you want and then bringing it back to the present and then feeling as though that's already done here.
Yeah. Because if you can imagine something to be true, right, it must exist in some reality, because you're incapable of imagining non-existence, because non-existence by definition doesn't exist. That's what Bashar says. So if you can actually envision yourself doing something, then you must be already doing that in some timeline. Now, Muhammad Ali put it this way. He said, if my mind can conceive it and my heart can believe it, then I can definitely achieve it. He's saying the same thing there. And even some of the greatest tennis players or other athletes like Novak Djokovic, for example, used to envision himself holding the Wimbledon trophy. When he was a kid, he even created his own little Wimbledon trophy, and he envisioned himself being a champion, and he obviously is a champion now, and he used that to manifest that reality. Obviously, he still had to put in the work to actually become who he is today, but, having that clear vision, that clear goal, something to actually aspire to is the whole point of the process. Because if you're just manifesting without any goal or intention, then you're not going to get any far.
Well, I mean, timelines is such an interesting kind of idea, but I also realize we really can't completely understand it either, because we're stuck in this reality. So there are just kind of theories that I think about, and also things I've seen in my dreams that lead me to answers where I have, as you know, Ray, that I have a Syrian guide who comes in my meditation and also into my dreams. And he tells me certain things, and I have dreams I had this one dream where I was learning, and I was during the time I was learning about Akashic records, and in it he basically took me to this room where there was this big screen television, and he would just rewind and fast forward it and show me that it didn't make a difference, and that even though we thought that the present was now or our future, I was thinking about my grandpa's death that happened last October. And he showed me that he was going to be reborn. He showed me the place that he was going to be reborn in Italy, and to what family he was going to be reborn. And it was some kind of royal family. They were wearing blue. I could see some faces. And I said, well, is that the past? And he said, to you, it may be the past, but it could be in a different timeline, the future. And so that confused me for a while, but then I started thinking about it. It's yeah, right. It's like a circle. It's all we think we're on a timeline, but maybe it's not even, and as you were saying, you can connect with you're able to connect more with your, is it Syrian? Your Syrian self? That's the one. So that's another whole entire dimension. And one of the movies that pops into my head is Interstellar. Have you seen that?
Oh, I love that movie. Yeah.
I love that movie too. And for me, like that movie, I cried on it. Some people don't even see where I would cry on it, but I cried on that movie. Um, when she thinks there's a daughter in it, or she thinks that she's seen a ghost push books on the early part of the movie out. And she's like, Dad, look, there's books being pushed out. There's a ghost trying to tell me something. And he's like, yeah, honey, whatever.
And it's him.
And then and then it goes along, and then he goes to space, and he goes through this dark, is it not a wormhole? It's just a black hole, and so we don't know what even happens there with time at all. Still, even though they have theories about it, and he turns out being the one who goes through that hole. And later on in the future, they were able to build some kind of dimension creational thing where he could talk to his daughter. And they rescued him. And so it was him in the future pushing those books, trying to get her attention in the past. So,
and that's what I'm saying right there, is that's how our past can also be altered by changing our future. Because the past is equally as malleable as the present, even though we may not be able to see that at times. Every little choice you make takes you to a different timeline. That's how many there are. So it's like we're constantly moving up and down timelines. Have you ever seen like a heartbeat monitor in the hospital where, like when it flatlines, it just goes ding. But when the heart is beating, the electrical signals, it's going like this all the time. The heart is beating and you can see it. It's similar to that. We're always moving and shifting through different timelines, as a result of our choices and our state of being as well, obviously. And if you're going to stay within the old self, stay in fear, stay feeling these emotions that just weigh you down all of the time, then your future is going to be very predictable, isn't it? So it's important to learn how to become more unpredictable by embracing the unknown and to envision and to embody a future self and to be defined more by that future self. And that's really what my work is all about. That's why on my logo it says "Be the Future." Even though, on an ultimate level, the future doesn't exist. Of course, it's an illusion, but the illusion of time is something that we need when we're in a physical body.
I mean, if you really think about it in the smallest way, like just if people can't conceive of timelines in a larger spectrum, like we're talking about it right now, think of it like this. Okay, we drive 2 hours. The time's changed. I go to Europe and I come back. I relive the same day twice. Just those kind of little things makes you really realize like time is just so relative. Bringing in the idea of what if this is a simulation world? What if it is a game? I mean, not a game, but like a Earth planet we're learning on, but that is just sort of like a 3D world. I mean, like a dimension game in a weird way. So in that kind of way, like it's just its own dimension, kind of like the Matrix,
Well, I saw a meme the other day where it said it's all about overcoming the Saturn Moon Matrix, and that really, really interested me. That word, Saturn Moon Matrix, right? So in astrology, Saturn represents linear time. Saturn is the god of time, right? And the moon represents the subconscious, how you're feeling on a daily basis, your conditioned self, just the way you've been raised and the way you've been nurtured and so on. So really, the whole point of the game is breaking free of that illusion of time. And I think once you've realized, not just by reading about it in a book, but actually having an experience to show you that time is not linear at all, we just believe it is, then of course, you begin to regain your freedom in the sense that you won't allow the past to define you anymore. You know that all the future versions of yourself also exist right now. Even the version of yourself that aren't you, Melissa, even the future incarnations of you exist, but even the future versions of Melissa exist as well. and you can connect to all of those versions, any one of them that you want, as long as you can envision her and feel her state of being within your mind. So overcoming that conditioning and them illusions, is the entire point of the game, and I think you beat the game by doing that. They call the devil the ultimate illusionist, and Saturn is connected to Satan. Satan, that's what Satan really is. It's not a man with horns and a pitchfork. It's that illusion of linearity.
Yeah, it's your illusion of being stuck in this timeline, an illusion that this world is the only thing that there is, and that you can't get out, and you can't get out, and you're also trapped in situations that you can easily free yourself from.
But it's also the illusion that Saturn also represents the illusion that, the only thing that really exists is the things you can perceive with your five senses.
Yeah.
It's not, because
it is the five senses on the top on the tarot card too.
Yeah, exactly. That's why, because if you can envision a future self, then you may not even be able to perceive it like some of the stuff and the things that your future self will be doing right now, because you're still the current self, right? So your current self is still bound by those senses. So you've got to get beyond sensory phenomena in order to truly connect with your future self, and that's where the imagination comes into play. The imagination is the third eye, really. Yeah, this was just a little video about timelines and, the creative power that you have. If you liked it, please subscribe to our channels.